Today, in partnership with Emris Services, we'll be speaking to John and Tracy Owens, parents of club captain Jack Owens, on his recent achievement of reaching the top 10 all-time point scorers at the club. Afternoon, Tracy, John, how are you doing?
Great, thanks Phil, How are you?
I'm all right, thanks. Sorry to surprise you like this on a Friday afternoon. I just thought we'd give you a call and just have a chat with you about your son. Is that okay?
Right. Yeah, no problems.
That's fine.
You may have seen our new feature over the past few weeks, which is we're celebrating magic moments. And I was watching the game on Sunday and I was absolutely made up, I think, as we all are at the club, to see Jack has entered the top 10. He's number 10 of the all-time point scorers at this great club of ours, Widnes Vikings. And I thought, you know what? I'm not going to ring Jack. I'm going to ring Tracy and John and get their opinion. So, over to you. How do you feel about your son achieving that unbelievable milestone?
Well, yeah, it's a big achievement. I really didn't know much about it, to be honest. So it comes as a bit of a surprise, really, didn't it?
Yeah. I heard something where he said he needed to score either 5 or 7 points or something to make the top 10. But I didn't realise he was actually that close to it. So yeah, I was made up watching it on Sunday.
Well, I was amazed, really, you know, considering he's still only 26 years of age, and you know he spent a few seasons away from the club. You know, to get to that position already, I think is an absolutely unbelievable accolade for him. I think he's currently on 746. And he's chasing down Mick Nanning, which shouldn't be too hard to beat Mick Nanning, but down. So, you know, with you two both being proud Widnesians, you know, what's it like to have a son that's club captain and has joined a pretty esteemed list of people in that top 10, the likes of Ray Dutton and Jonathan Davis and people like that? How does it make you both feel?
It's obviously extremely proud. I mean, there's some big names there you just mentioned, isn't there? I was lucky enough to see some of them players. So yeah, it's just a great feeling. And when he got the captaincy, I was absolutely buzzing about that. You know, originally when he got it, and then for him to get it again is just unbelievable. Really made up for him.
Yeah, obviously he didn't tell us when he was captain. No. I seen it on Twitter.
Well, do you know what I think?
But yeah, I was thrilled.
I think for everyone that knows Jack, I think that's one of his most endearing qualities, isn't it? I think he's a really, really humble person. You know, he obviously I've known him since he was 14, 15 years of age, and I think as I say, one of his best qualities, he's really humble, and I think that's reflected in the respect that all of the rest of the players have got for him. You know, and I think the supporters as well can see it. I think when I was watching the game on Sunday, I think it's just so obvious how much playing for this club means to him. You know, and for me personally, I've seen his journey. Just really, really proud, and I can't imagine what it's like for you two. You know, I've got 2 kids myself now, and I get choked up when my son scores an own goal for his footy team, never mind captaining in his hometown club, you know what I mean? So yeah, it must be an amazing feeling. But could you give us a bit of an insight into sort of Jack's journey, you know, from where, because I believe, Tracy, you didn't want him to play rugby initially. Can you give us a bit of an insight into his journey and how that started?
No, I always wanted him to play rugby. What happened was he got selected to play for Halton, and we'd gone over to Berlin. He was in a tournament in Berlin, and the coach of the Halton team was also a scout for Everton. And Jack got asked to go to Everton for trials, but I didn't tell Jack because he'd been selected. He'd been selected to go to the Lancashire camp in Blackpool. And I didn't tell him, and he only found out a number of years later of one of his mates that's what happened, that he could have actually gone to Everton. So no, he was always going to play rugby. always for me.
I think that Lancashire camp, I think you might have been on that, Phil. Was you?
No, I was. It was at Ross Hall boarding school, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It was like Hogwarts, and I remember speaking to someone who still works at a club not far from us. Your son, has had a little bit of a moment with them as well. I'm not a fan of that club, but standing next to one of their staff, and they were saying he's never going to be big enough. Jack Owens never going to be big enough to be a Super League player, and I just thought to myself at the time, do you know what? I think you might be wrong there. But obviously Jack joined us, didn't he? And he's gone on to, he's had a few milestones, hasn't he? I mean, he made his debut at 16, didn't he? I think got man of the match.
Yeah.
Obviously he's represented his country as well, hasn't he? At academy level. What was it like? What was it like for you both when he moved on and decided, Judas, he went to Saints, didn't he? What was it like for you?
It was a bit of a surprise, but at the end of the day, you just want what's best for him, don't you? It was just one of those situations where the way things were happening at Widnes, and then Saints came in, they were interested. He was like humming and ahhing. He just, it's just something he decided to do at the time. He probably, if you speak to Jack, you probably get a lot more detail about that. It was just one of those things. So it's like you'd love him to stay. You wanted him to stay, but then you sort of you just want what's best for him, and you've got to let him do his own thing.
I was heartbroken. That's all I'm going to say.
When the opportunity came for him to come back, I was buzzing. I was absolutely buzzing to get him back at the club. What was it like for yourselves when he came back?
Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
It was just like doing cartwheels around the living room. It was just.
We was in Lanzarote.
Yeah.
We was actually on holiday in Lanzarote where we found out.
Definitely,
for definite. And it was a case of just waiting to see something on Twitter, or just to get the word that it'd been announced. No, we were made up. Absolutely thrilled.
One of the best moments for me personally, and it'd be interesting to get a parent's perspective on it, was, although it ended up being a pretty bad day, but when we beat Lee in the semi-final and we got to Wembley.
Oh yeah.
What's that like for two Widnesians to sit in Wembley watching the son playing for the hometown team? What's that feeling like?
Well, apart from being nervous, it was just one of those moments that you'll never forget. Just to see him walk out on that pitch. I mean, the crowd wasn't okay. The crowd wasn't great, obviously, but there was a fantastic amount of Widnes fans there, which kind of made up for that. But just to see him walk out there, it's just something. I'd love to see it again.
Is it difficult to sit there and watching your son playing a sport that is pretty brutal? That he's risking, his health and well-being every time he plays, and obviously watching him as well. Widnes can be a bit of a goldfish bowl, can't it, at times? What's that like?
I mean, you sort of when you're watching the game, you've got one eye on what's watching the game, and the other, you're watching him as well. As long as he walks off the field, I'm happy. As long as he's not, he's badly injured. Like I say, as long as he walks off that field after the game, then that's it. I'm happy with that.
I just get really nervous. He's been playing since he was 5, and I've always been nervous, and I just don't think that will ever change. It takes a good half an hour into a game. He's got to have caught a high ball, done his first tackle. There's like certain things, and once he's done them, I kind of calm a little bit. But I don't think it'll ever get easier, even if he's playing for another 10 years. I don't ever think it'll get any easier.
Yourselves as parents, you've been with him through thick and thin, haven't you? You've seen him, start his journey, and back in the day when he started, did you ever think that he'd be captain this club? Never, no.
I always remember the phone call that you give us one Sunday, actually saying you're on about signing him on, for, I think it was just after the academy. I signing him on for that. So to go from what he's done from that to where he is now is it's incredible, really. Just so proud of him.
I always remember when Jack was only about 18, and for some reason I was having a conversation with Rolty, and he actually said to me, and this is going back many, many years ago.
Oh, don't give Rolty any credit now.
Oh, I love Dave. No,
Dave's sound. Yeah.
No.
Dave's had a big part to play as well. Remember?
Rolty said to me, he said, one of these days, he said, your Jack will be loose forward. I don't think Kenny will quite like that. He said he'll be loose forward and he'll be the captain of the town. And I'll never forget Dave saying that. So you never know. He's got the captaincy. He might be loose forward in a couple of years, but he's not passing up at fullback.
Definitely. They were a brilliant group to work with. You know, for me personally, Dave, everybody that came into contact with that group, and Paul Hume did an amazing job with that.
He did. Yeah.
And you know what an inspirational person for them to be coached by.
Definitely.
I think he's also been a club captain, hasn't he, as well? So great. But I always knew Jack I always knew he was a team player. When I walked in the changing room at the Wids, right, we were getting ready to play Warrington under 16s, and I'll never forget this. I walked in and Jack is going round the changing room rubbing wintergreen in all of the other players' legs. And I thought, what is going on here? I thought, you know what, I know these lads are close. I didn't know they were that close. But I always thought at times, you know what, he is a team player, isn't he? You know, but he, I think it does go back to that. I think he puts the team first, doesn't he, rather than himself. Yeah. And I love watching him play because he just exudes passion, and he exudes all the attributes that we need if we're going to get back to where we want to be one day. And I really hope that Jack, spearheads us doing that. So, have you got any dirt to dish on him or what?
Oh, far too much.
I've already had the phone call off him, making sure that we're on our best behaviour.
No, but I thought people would be interested to get, a bit of a different insight, and for the club to thank you both for everything you've done for him over the years and the support you've shown him. It really means a lot in the development of a player and the journey. And I've got some stats here for you. He roughly scores 280 points a year, and he's on 746 at the minute. Ray Dutton, hang on, just had to get this on my phone. Ray Dutton where's Ray Dutton? He's on 2,195.
Got to do another 6 years, hasn't he?
There, Well, imagine that. Imagine that feeling if he gets to that point. That'd be incredible, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, like I say, he's only got to do another 6 or 7 years, and that's possible, isn't it? I mean, he might end up in the forwards, but
yeah. Well, I was going to say if Rolty's premonition comes true and he gets playing loose forward, I think the tries might dry up a bit. And let's be fair,
a little bit.
He's pretty slow anyway. As he gets older, he's only going to get slower. But I genuinely think by the end of this year he could be in 6th or 5th position. If he carries on going, he is. I wondered why he's always been so keen to goal kick, because we've got quite a few goal kickers in the team, but he won't let anyone else have a go.
Yeah.
I actually thought it'd be Steve Tyra, to be truthful. I was quite surprised when Jack was saying he was doing the kicking.
Yeah. Well, I think he's obviously got his eye on that number 1 spot, hasn't he? He's obviously after that. but I've got to be honest with you. He better start hurrying up when he's taking them kicks, because we keep getting fined off the RFL. So he's going to have to start getting fined or something, to speed him up.
He's just giving the lads a breather, Phil, isn't he?
Good teammate and captain again there, isn't he, looking after the lads?
That's what he's doing.
Yeah, there you go, yeah.
Yeah, but no, I just, just to finish off, really, I think, again, just to say thanks and, to say, I can't imagine how proud you must feel about his achievements. And also, I think he's a real, I think he's quite an inspirational character, Jack. And I think he really is becoming, a role model in our town and a great example, to all the kids. you know, that are wanting to play rugby are playing rugby, you know, in school at the moment. So, you know, from me to yourselves, from the club to yourselves, you know, I can't imagine how proud you are, and, you know, hopefully long may it continue.
Yeah, thank you. Cheers, Phil.
Thanks, Phil. Yeah, we're extremely proud, not only of Jack, but of the club as well, because, you know, after what's happened over the last couple of years, it's definitely on the up. And we've always been Widnes fans, and we always will be. So, yeah, we're so proud of the club and obviously of Jack.
Well, let's be fair, like, you know, we did give him a second chance after he, you know.
yeah.
I don't know, but no, it's such a, I think it's such a special club, you know, and there's a lot of really, you know, really good people involved in the club that have supported the club, and, you know, your support. I know Jack doesn't like it sometimes, but, you know, it's you can't measure it. You know what I mean? You can't measure the impact that our supporters have. That I still fully believe that we've got the best supporters in rugby league. You know, the reality is we're a small town, so as a percentage, it's always going to be difficult to have, you know, massive crowds. But in terms of the passion and the commitment to continue watching this club, you know, that's what's seeing us through. And I think, you know, that it really does spur the lads on. I just can't wait. Hopefully we can get crowds in, you know, sooner rather than later, and, you know, give everyone a treat kind of thing. So on that note, I'll leave you to it. But yeah, just thanks again for your time, and thanks again for everything you do for Jack.
All right, cheers, Phil. Thank you.
No problem.
See you soon. Thanks, Phil.